Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2019 Netflix action film Point Blank. A film that is directed by Joe Lynch, and the film stars Frank Grillo and Anthony Mackie, who you will both recognise primarily from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, Frank Grillo is a bit of a veteran in the action movie genre business, and he has appeared in other films like The Grey and Warrior, for example. And I do think he's quite an underrated film star, Frank Grillo. Now, what is this film about? Well, this film focuses on Frank Grillo's character Abe and Anthony Mackie's character Paul. And you do see at the beginning of the film there's like some kind of heist, or there's some kind of important figure taken out, and you assume immediately that the prime suspect in this is Frank Grillo's character Abe. You see him fleeing the scene of the crime. His brother is meant to be picking him up, however an accident takes place and Frank Grillo's character Abe is seriously injured and taken to the local hospital, and he's unconscious. Now, Anthony Mackie's character Paul is a nurse at this hospital who is treating Abe. Frank Grillo's brother, played by Christian Cook, Matteo, breaks into the hospital, steals Anthony Mackie's identification in a brief battle with him, and then he ends up going home, kidnapping Anthony Mackie's pregnant wife and blackmailing Paul, Anthony Mackie, essentially saying, "You get my brother out of hospital or your wife's dead." So he has no choice. He has to go against the police and get the suspected murderer, Abe, out of hospital. Otherwise his pregnant wife is in serious danger. However, when he gets out of hospital, as you could imagine, you know, in these sort of films, there's an unlikely partnership takes place, and they are being chased down by corrupt cops as well as many others. So that's essentially the movie that we get here with Point Blank. Now, I wasn't overly interested, I'll be honest, in watching this film. It looked pretty generic and standardised from my perspective when I read the synopsis on this film, but I thought I was a bit of a, not really much out there to watch. I thought I'll give it a go. It's a Netflix film. It's probably going to be decent enough quality, and it is. It's a perfectly watchable action film. It is very generic. It is what you've seen many times before. There's not much added here that you haven't seen before, and it ticks all the boxes. You know, when you read the synopsis of this film, you kind of can plan it out in your head what you're going to get with this film, and you get it. You get pretty standardised but watchable action scenes. You get unlikely partnerships take place between Frank Grillo and Anthony Mackie. This begrudging respect that starts developing between them. You get all these stuff that go off. You get the corrupt cops. You can see betrayals coming a mile away, and it is pretty clear what's going to happen with this film when you watch it. And there's no real surprises. There's no real twists, and it doesn't offer anything particularly new to the genre. There's a couple of uneasy additions of humour to the film that don't really work. There's a strange soundtrack where they keep adding these like iconic soft rock songs and other songs to scenes in the film that just don't fit. Very strange choices. I'm not sure why they did it. Don't know if they wanted to try and stylize the film in some way to try and elevate it. It didn't. It just made it seem a bit weird. However, Anthony Mackie and Frank Grillo elevate this film, if you like, slightly above average, because they're both very competent performances by both these actors. Like I say, I think Frank Grillo is an underrated star. I think he deserves more vehicles, more parts in films, because I just think he's very underrated, and I think he's everything I ever see him in, he always delivers in a performance, and he does it again here. And Anthony Mackie is, as you can imagine, is a nurse who's trying desperately to track down his pregnant wife. So you can imagine the kind of performance you're getting from him in this film. Yeah, and there's not an awful lot else to say on this film. If by listening to the synopsis for this film, if it sounds interesting, then you're probably going to watch it and half enjoy this film. it's just a bit generic and standardised and formulaic and all the above, really. And bad guys you can see coming a mile away, betrayals you can see coming a mile away, and it doesn't offer anything new. But I'm not gonna lie, I watched it, I wasn't bored, I didn't dislike it. It's just not exactly thriller minute stuff, I suppose you could say. There's it felt overly long as well. I mean, there were a couple of scenes that felt like filler. There's a scene where he has to get some help, Frank Grillo, to bring down the corrupt cops, and he goes to these, gangsters who are interested in directing films and things. It just seemed a bit odd. It just seemed a bit elongated and unnecessary to ultimately get where they needed to be. I'm sure they could have figured it out without them. So it did feel like there was a bit of some filler scenes added in there for no real particular reason, and I think maybe to give us, time to look, draw breath until the next action scene. I don't know. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It is watchable. It's slightly above average, but like I say, it ain't gonna, blow you away or anything. But with competent performances by everybody in the film, especially the two main leads. So that's my review for Point Blank. Apparently it's a remake as well, of a film from 2010. I don't know it, so I can't really make any comparisons. So that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. It is worth checking out if you like, pretty decent action films. Thanks for watching, everybody, and of course I'll see you next time on Screen Stars.